Hey, what is up? My name is Natalia Roberts, and welcome back to my online workshop where dance and film collide. Today we dig into Chapter 2, Part 2, creating our storyboard and our shot list. But before we dig into the actual physical creation of these things, I just want to talk about why we do them. And there are three main reasons why we want to create a storyboard. The first one is so that we can visualize our piece. You've probably already at this point really started digging into the framing of all of your pieces. You probably know exactly how you want that main framing to go. But if you are new to filming and you are a little bit worried about having one really good shot of that, you're gonna want to film at least two different angles. They can't just be a couple of degrees apart. You're gonna probably want something at least 90 degrees, especially in the beginning while you're figuring it out. So something that's from the front and from the side. Maybe it's from the top, maybe it's from the bottom, maybe it's from really far away and punched in, but you're gonna want to film most of your work from at least two of these quite differentiated framing perspectives, so that if you need to cut in between two different clips, you can. So by writing everything down, you can really make sure that you have yourself covered in that regard. Number two, we don't get to rehearse all aspects of our film day beforehand. So unlike in a more traditional dance production, we don't have a chance when it comes to filming to first rehearse the choreography, then rehearse with our costumes, and then have a tech day where we get to work with all of our lights and our staging and all of the mechanics of that, so that by the time we come into opening night, we have gone through every single aspect of production. When it comes to filming, there's probably a big aspect of this that you haven't gotten a chance to rehearse, and that is how the camera is moving. And there can be some issues there. You can have focus issues. The framing can be slightly off. When it came to Your Biggest Fan, they talk about how that long gimbal shot we looked at earlier took them 40 takes. That's 40 takes just for the camera. That's not exploring how they want to film it. That's not exploring different ways to do the choreography. That's just the camera. And so I think that's something very important to keep in mind, because I think sometimes we go into these filming days with the idea that we can do many takes. It's okay. This is not a final performance. But the more you can think of your filming as a final performance and prep as much beforehand as possible, the better off you'll be, because it takes a lot of time to film. And because it takes a lot of time to film, it costs a lot of money. Time is money. You might need to do space rental, gear rental, crew, your dancers. The more takes, the more SD card, the more storage space, more time in the editing process. The longer you take, the more all of those things are gonna cost. And that is, I think, very different for us than in the dance world, where you don't have quite so many components that are quite so expensive. So we really want to consolidate our filming as much as possible. We also want to consolidate it because it allows us more freedom. If you make sure that you have all of the shots that you need, then you will give yourself the freedom to explore other things that maybe you didn't realize were available to you until the actual time of shooting. If you get to the shoot and you're scrambling just to get your basic shots, then you won't get a chance to actually explore those other cool things that spontaneously arose. So be as organized as possible so that you get as much out of your filming as possible. Let's move on to how we're actually going to organize our storyboard and then turn it into a shot list. I love myself a notebook. You can absolutely do this by printing out a template, by taking photos of each scene and plugging those in. But I'll show you how I'm doing it, just so you have an overall idea of what's happening here. The first thing that you're going to notice is that you have these blocks, and these are true no matter if you're using a template or if you're creating it yourself. You're going to have these blocks that correspond to the framing of your camera. Then within the blocks, you're going to have a rough sketch or a photograph or some kind of visual representation of the main part of your scene. So in the beginning right here, I have a person sitting on a couch, then I have a wall in the background. I swear that's a wall. And then a little desk over here on the left. So this is the setup. And then you'll see this faint arrow over here going towards the left. That's Mona's movement. They're kind of going to be dancing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm sitting in the foreground. And then you see in this dark, lovely purple, the movement of the camera. So it doesn't have to be in a different color, but it should definitely be different than what's happening in the scene. So you'll see for mine, I have these kind of slimmer arrows and maybe a little bit of sketching that's happening in the frame, and that's designating the movement of the characters. And then I have these bold purple arrows that designate the movement of the camera. For this first one, it's gonna be a push-in wide shot. For this one, we're going to be pulling out, and it's going to be a full body shot or a mid shot. This arrow down here, that's letting me know that that camera is going to be circling around. Here, this one is just a still shot. I also have in the top left corner, whenever it's really important, the time signature of where I am in the music. And that's to help everybody know, okay, here's where we need to start the music so that we have sound rolling exactly where we need it when it comes to filming that section of the piece. So those are kind of the main things that you need to have as far as your storyboarding is concerned. You have your framing of the camera, what's happening in the frame, the movement of the characters, the movement of the camera. You have the framing of the camera, that mid shot or full body shot, that time signature if you need it. And then underneath I have any kind of information or notes that are there for me. Most of this piece I had kind of one main framing that I knew I needed, I knew I wanted, and I knew that I would need to get perfect because I just wanted that. I didn't want to create any kind of additional angles or anything. But then for this sequence, I knew that there are some specific angles that I really wanted to add on to the main one. So the main one is going to start up with this close-up of Mona's hand sneaking around the corner, and then the camera is going to pull back and pan up. I have my time signature again up on the upper left corner. Then underneath that, I show two different cutaways that I want to do, or close-ups. The first one is going to be on Mona's face, and then I had underneath it maybe hand, and then the second one is going to be of Mona's foot tapping to that beat. Then moving on, I showed two more frames of that same sequence. One that's going to be on the side because I really want to make sure that I get a side shot that's going to be tracking Mona moving sideways, and then the last one is going to be behind. And the reason why I want to capture a take from behind is so that I can get the final moment of that sequence from that angle. So in these two additional frames, I'm not only saying, hey, I want to make sure, just for myself, you know, I want to capture this thing from the front, the side, and the back, but here are the significant moments that I want to capture from those angles. All right, so from there, we then take this visualized piece and we turn it into a shot list. And a shot list is basically a big old to-do list that we have for ourselves so that we can literally check things off as we are filming and make sure that we get what we need, take notes, and make sure that we are on schedule. I'm not gonna lie, I usually do my shot list just handwritten, but my my handwriting might not be for general consumption. So I've also just typed up a little bit of an idea of what a shot list could be. This shot list example is very simple compared to other examples that you might find on the internet. So you can kind of choose how complicated you do or don't need it to be, but especially in the beginning, keep it simple. You don't need a lot of the information that's on these like big crew shot lists. So here are the main things that I have on my shot list that I think will serve you as well. One, I have my shot number. So after you've created your storyboard, you can go through and you can label the shots that you want. Whenever I've cutaways like that close-up of the foot or the head, I will label those A, B, C, just so that I really understand that's kind of a part of the same take. And then I have my shot size or angle. I'm gonna add in here movement. This is all information about the camera. So I have things like slow push in, long shot, fast pull out, mid shot. This is a still, and this is gonna be somewhere between a mid shot and a close up or a close mid shot. Next, I have that timestamp in the music. Again, that's just so that we can roll sound exactly where we need to. And then I have any kind of notes that I need to keep in mind for what's happening in the scene, or if there's anything that I need to be reminded about in terms of what is being captured, if there's any kind of trickiness to it. From here, if you want, you can either take this and add 2 more columns to it, or just on a separate piece of paper, begin to designate how much time you have to each piece and how long the entire shoot is going to take. My biggest suggestion when it comes to parsing out your time is to give yourself a lot more time than you think. Give yourself a lot more grace, double or maybe even triple the amount of time you think it's gonna take, because I can guarantee when it comes to filming, it's gonna take a lot longer than you realize, and you're gonna need a few more breaks than you think you do. Yeah, so, pretty exciting stuff, right? Now we know exactly what we are doing. We've visualized it all out. We've created a beautiful to-do list for yourself. Let's set up our camera, set up our gimbal, and start shooting.